a series of questions, the answers to which overwhelmingly depend on my memories of the past and on my own past thinking and behavior. Every effort has been made to fact-check this book and its many details. Nonetheless, I would like to enter that if I turn out to be misleading in a particular anecdote, I will invoke Oliver Sacks every time. Introduction by Luke Savage. This book is neither a traditional autobiography nor a purely theoretical reflection. At times, it may closely resemble one or the other, though very often it is both at once, and more. Nearly a decade ago, when the project was first imagined and discussed, Ed Broadbent made clear that he was looking to write something concerned with political ideas in the broadest sense, that is, with wider questions of theory and practice, as well as history, and with the values of the social democratic tradition to which he has devoted his life. My own earliest record consists of a few handwritten notes, penned by Ed in bullet form, and affixed to an email sent to our mutual friend Michael Velpe in August 2013. Common space versus markets, read one note. Followed a few inches below by another reading, local versus globalization. Some notes were abstract, among them intriguing provocations like political ideas and their limits, equality as a key democratic value, and the usefulness of philosophy. Others, in contrast, were more direct, naming specific personalities that ranged from fellow politicians like Tommy Douglas, Pierre Trudeau, and Brian Mulroney, to political theorists like the 19th century English philosopher and Member of Parliament John Stuart Mill. While there are certainly many excellent political memoirs, it was evident that Ed envisioned something beyond a strict chronicle of his career. Structurally speaking, this somewhat sweeping remit presented a series of potentially daunting questions and challenges. If this was not to be a straightforward autobiography, how would it proceed? On the other hand, given Ed's public-facing role in so many important and formative debates, how could those kinds of details possibly be left out? And assuming they were to be included, could theory, philosophy, and history work effectively in concert with the intimacy of anecdote and the immediacy of personal experience? What the enterprise demanded was a narrative scaffold capable of sustaining these weighty and disparate contents, and to this end, a near-perfect template obligingly presented itself. Thinking the 20th Century, a joint effort by Tony Judt, the brilliant and now sadly late historian of post-war Europe, and his collaborator, Timothy D. Snyder, was freshly published and looked to be a worthy candidate for emulation. Described by Snyder in its foreword as a pastiche of history, biography, and ethical treatise, the book's unique format, a series of personal essays followed by dialogues between himself and Judt, enabled it to weave together all three without ever seeming forced or overly digressive. Alternating between different modes and registers, and sometimes partaking in several at the same time, the unorthodox structure of Thinking the 20th Century allowed its co-authors to traverse large swaths of history and thought, while remaining grounded in the different eras of Judt's life. In its own unique way, this book draws significant inspiration from their example. The major exception has to do with our lead author's direct involvement in many of the episodes and events discussed. Having been a professor at York University before his first run for Parliament in 1968, Ed speaks with authority about the abstract issues of concern to political theorists. Unlike most theorists or historians, however, he has also spent the bulk of his career as a politician and public figure, engaged with much more immediate